The final nail in the coffin of your perfectionism, hesitation, self-doubt, and especially that little excuse voice that explains why you're still not painting.
Hello everybody, this is Maria Grosbaum from Abyssimo Mixed Media Online School. I'm very happy to see you in my studio. And today we are going to create something really cool. This wintry, vivid, expressive and impressive landscape with oil pastels. No worries if you never tried oil pastels before. Trust me, it's a magical, absolutely great and creative medium. You are going to fall in love with it. Just follow my steps. I'm going to break down each step and it's going to be easy. Now, let's talk about materials. So, here we go. For oil pastels, I'm using Montmartre set of extra soft oil pastels. They are great for beginners, they're great for professionals. We will also need a palette knife, a brush, baby towel, and a pencil. That's it. So, it is really great to go on a new creative adventure. Let's enjoy it, and I cannot wait to see what you will create.
Now let's talk about paper. My personal choice is black paper. I think it works really well when we want to convey this very vivid, transparent and bright light of winter. So my paper is all-purpose. It's not only for pastels but also for pencils and other mediums. It is 150 grams and it has a light texture. Let's get started. Before we dive into our landscape, I want to show you some basic pastel techniques and how to deal with the most common oops moments. I actually have a whole oil pastel course where I share fun but important exercises. The link is below this video. But since many of you are trying this medium for the very first time, I'll give you the essential tips to get started and feel confident. Strokes. It is important to place your strokes with a bit of distance between them so they don't sit too tightly together and there is some nice space in between. Now I suggest using these loose, slightly messy movements to create a transition from one color to another, from light to dark, from warm to cool. So, why shouldn't we make our strokes too dense? This is actually a very common problem. If you try to add a new color on top of a thick, heavy layer of pastel, it becomes really hard. The color simply won't stick. To fix this, you can gently scrape off the lower layer with a palette knife and then apply the color you want on top. It will go on much more easily and look more intense. And of course, from time to time, it's important to gently sweep away all those pastel crumbs with a big brush. Nice and light, no drama. And that's it. Now you are fully ready to create our masterpiece together. Of course, I'd love to say that this beautiful winter landscape was born purely in my imagination, and I painted it in one magical, authentic flow. Sometimes that does happen, but in this case I decided to use reference photo simply because it works better for learning. I chose this image because I absolutely love the piercing light of an early winter morning and the overall fairy tale feeling of the scene. I knew right away this is exactly what we need. So I recommend pausing the video now and taking a screenshot so you'll have this reference image too. Okay, now our task is to sketch in the main shapes. Sketch, not obsessed over every tiny detail. We are expressive, fearless artists here, not strict realists. Our goal is to capture the feeling, not photographic accuracy. In fact, simplify as much as you can. Feel free to sacrifice a couple of trees, just like I do, and don't draw every single branch. For this initial sketch, you can use white pencil, a regular pencil, or light colored pastel. And don't forget the frame. So, what do you think about my masterpiece? I love it. And now, this is the moment to really enjoy being a painter. Ready? I'm starting with the sky, using loose, messy strokes to create a gradient from light tones to darker ones, carefully dancing around the tree trunks. Don't be afraid of bold colors. The more expressive the gradient, the more interesting and dramatic the result will be. And just in case, remember, you can always scrape everything off with a palette knife and repaint it. Well, good luck to all of us! Now it's time for the trees. And since we're such impressionists, let's add some rich, juicy brown to bring them to life. The messier, the better. Well, since I'm already such an impressionist, why not go all in and add some bright orange to the lower part of the sky and the center? After all, the rising sun paints everything in warm tones. I love this kind of contrast. We're painting a frosty scene, yet it radiates warmth. Yes, that's how we artists are. We thrive on contrast. Since we're talking about orange, here is my orange miracle, my constant companion in the creative process, my inspiration, and oh, wow, how sometimes this cat drives me crazy and gets in the way. And really, what kind of impressionism would it be without some purple tones? So everything I'm doing here is experimentation. In my opinion, that's the most essential ingredient in the creative process. What did you expect? No experimentation, no energy. No energy, no life in the work. And really, what's art without life? Okay. Let's put all these motivational slogans aside for a moment, and I'll actually explain what's going on here. So you know, I'm not just throwing random strokes around, but working with an idea. And the idea is pretty simple. Once the sketch is done, I try to cover the entire painting with the first layer of strokes, laying down the foundation, so to speak. I don't work on one area at a time. Instead, I build the whole painting everywhere at once. You could even say I'm sculpting the image with colorful strokes. Of course, I don't choose colors completely at random. I try to stay logical. For example, I'm not painting the sun and its rays in green, although maybe I should try that someday. It could turn into some very cool conceptual avant-garde. Right now, I'm also layering in the background color. I won't stop here. I'll add more tones on top later. But at this stage, my goal is simply to establish a base across the entire surface. And if that was a bit too much talking, just follow along with me. Understanding will come, I promise. In our world, you can theorize forever, but until you actually try it, nothing really happens. And we definitely want result, right? So why are results still important? We hear it all the time, and yes, I say it too. The process is what matters. Don't obsess over the result. But results do matter. Or at least a more or less finished piece does. Why? because it's basically the final nail in the coffin of your perfectionism, hesitation, self-doubt, and especially that little excuse voice that explains why you're still not painting. Every small result is a small victory. It shows you how much you are actually capable of. And next time you feel the urge to paint, you'll choose to be a person who does, not a person who endlessly theorizes, which, let's be honest, is often just a very elegant way of justifying the fear of taking actions. Oops, that turned into a pretty dramatic speech. I promise I didn't mean to sound preachy at all. Let's get back to our winter landscape. And now, once that first layer is spread everywhere, we'll start adding details. That's the high level stuff. But before we get there, it is important to say this. This first layer of color strokes is what I call the ugly teenage stage. This is where many people give up because the painting suddenly looks, well, terrible. Like, what have I done? Terrible. But you have me. I'm here to tell you, this is just the awkward teenage phase of your painting, totally normal. A bit painful, slightly embarrassing, and absolutely necessary. So you have every chance not to abandon what you started. I totally believe in you. Well, while I was chatting away, I didn't even notice that I've added a few more tones to the first layer of pastel. I'm not sure if you noticed, but usually the lower layer are darker and the upper ones lighter, and so on. This helps create a nice natural roughness, just like in the nature. And now I want to add some bright, warm highlights to the trees to really emphasize the glow of the sun. For thinner lines, it's easier to use the opposite end of the pastel. It's sharper and gives you more control. Just as I was about to take a break, my brother showed up, and we ended up having some fun, dancing, playing, being silly. So why not share that with you? Honestly, my lovely artists, if you want to become truly outstanding artists, here is my number one life hack: take breaks. Even just for a minute, but 5 is better. That's how you keep your work fresh. And freshness means liveliness, and without that, art just doesn't work. So I'm pretty happy with how the work is coming along. There is just a little bit left to do. Work on the details, deepen the gradient in the sky, draw the tree branches, color the sun, add the rays, the shadows, and the brightest highlights. Well, basically, piece of cake. And of course, I can't forget to add white and other light tones. After all, this isn't warm Tahiti a la Gauguin. This is a real winter landscape with the snow. Now about the sun and its rays. To make a ray look more convincing, I start with a bold, energetic straight line in orange, then go over it with yellow and finish with white on top. That combo works really nice, in my opinion, my humble opinion. Well, something like that. So, the sky is nice and dense now, the rays are done, I've added snow drifts and shadows too. What's left are the branches, and there are a lot of ways to approach them. For example, you can scratch them in with a palette knife, which is exactly what I'm doing now. The main thing is not to get lost in details, trying to draw every single branch. I mean, how many branches does one tree actually have? Hundreds? Thousands? We're definitely not drawing all of them. I'm so happy I chose black paper. See how thin and elegant my branches look. Well, palette knife is not the only solution. I'm also using a sharp edge of dark pastels, and also in the area of the sun I'm using some orange because branches reflect warm light that comes from sun. Because there's such a thick layer of pastel in the sky, I'm pressing quite hard on the pastel to get that bright orange to really show up. I know, I wanted you to like this piece so much that I may have slightly overdone the sky. I didn't really need that much density, but hey, if you don't try, you don't know. And honestly, knowing when to stop is an art in itself, just as important as everything else. I'm clearly giving myself a little pep talk here because I tend to miss that moment sometimes. Yes, working with oil pastels definitely takes practice, and today I showed you only a tiny fraction of the techniques. I'd be very happy if you'd like to check out my full lesson. I'll leave the link below with a nice discount just for my YouTubers. Many of you know me as a mixed media artist and teacher, but sometimes I just want to paint. No overthinking, just quickly and freely catch the beauty of a moment. Oil pastels are just perfect for it. I always carry, almost always, okay, not always, but almost always carry a few pastels and a sketchbook with me. It's such a gift to pause for a moment and sketch whatever inspires me. We live in a crazy speed and rarely allow ourselves to truly stop and see what's around us. And honestly, if we as artists don't do that, who will, right? So, I like to stick to simple, timeless things. Drawing and painting is a real treasure. It gives me a moment that actually matter, and that feeling of wonder at how beautiful the world really is. Okay, if I don't stop right now, I'll never stop. Now let's add the final touch, so to speak. We'll cover the entire surface of our masterpiece with a good layer of fixative for oil pastels to preserve it. I hope you enjoyed this class, where I tried to give you a little taste of the beauty of oil pastels. Subscribe to my channel, where I regularly share my lessons and spread the beauty. You'll find all the necessary links to materials and my online school below this video. See you in the class!